Hi there. Thank you very much for sending in this amazing essay. It's very, very interesting to read. I'm one of the essay correctors with IELTS podcast. My name's Daphne, and I'm going to try and give you some feedback and guide you as to how these essays should be written. It's a really tricky topic. A lot of these IELTS essays require you to have a very good knowledge of the world and of politics, as well as economics, and you've shown you really understand the question, which is great. So these kind of questions, we have to divide them into sections. So you need to be commenting on, should wealthy nations share their wealth? Okay, so you've addressed that really nicely here. By providing things like food and education. I think you need to mention here food and education, and so here you started with share their wealth. Now tell me how they might do that. Yeah, supporting universities, for example, that might happen in Russia, and also we need to talk about maybe African nations or poorer nations where they're supplying food. So you do need to mention all the points in the questions. Or should people, they look after themselves, nations look after their citizens themselves, and you do mention that, that's fine. So use your own ideas, knowledge and experience to support your arguments with examples and with relevant evidence. Okay, you do that nicely. So the examiner looks at task achievement. So have you answered all the points in the question? So what I've done here is just underline the most important things. So when you're doing your planning, make sure you kind of reference everything that is in this question and keep referring back to it during your answer. Just keep checking you're on track. Okay, excuse me. The guideline for the essay is about 250 words, so 280 words is okay. Be careful going above 300. It is too long, and you could be marked down for that. Okay, so be aware of that as well. The next thing the examiner looks at is coherence. So is it easy for me to understand the essay? Does it run smoothly? So I'll talk about that as we go through. The next thing is the grammar. So your grammar looks very strong. I've only got a couple of grammar points to mention, but your grammar looks good. Complex sentences, so you're using some really good sentences there. Also your vocabulary. So vocabulary also looks really interesting. Be careful not to repeat words. If you see you're repeating a word a lot, try and think of another way to say it. Okay, so I believe each government has to take responsibility for their own citizens. Yep. Every country has its history of creation and development. I really like that. Now let's join it together. And everything they have now is a result of hard labour, wise or unwise, we would say, resource management. Okay, and so I think you need to emphasise their selected political path, or their chosen political path, you could put, because you repeat selected quite a lot later on. So introduce the essay to me now. In this essay, I will discuss, how important it is for this, or I will discuss the benefits of countries sharing their wealth, or I'll discuss whether, instead of repeating wealth, whether richer nations should be looking after poorer nations, using evidence from this, Russia, Canada and Poland. Okay, so always, you've made a nice statement there, so then introduce what you're going to say without repeating those words in the question. So for example, so I would start with Russia. Okay, don't go for example, because you're going to make the point, you've introduced it to me, so now start making it. So Russia is a huge country with a wide territory which possesses an enormous amount of resources. Yeah. Okay. Can we avoid repeating resources? Can we say maybe natural resources such as oil and gas? So if you're going to use a word like resources, tell me what you mean. Despite the size and... natural resources. Despite the size of natural resources, its economics is in a terrifying condition. Yeah. Present tense for that. Most people do not have enough money to cover their living expenses, whereas, to contrast that, some minor groups of individuals, we could say individuals rather than people again, are listed in the top 10 of the Forbes journal. Okay, are listed in the top 10 wealthiest people in Forbes journal. Okay, I know what you mean, but you need to say what you mean there. If any other country started to share wealth with Russia, it would gain It would lead to gaining higher places in Forbes by those selected group of people. Okay, I think you need to just reword that. With Russia, comma, the risk would be of those selected few or those chosen few gaining higher places, but not to a change in the nation's situation. Okay, so just slightly reword that to make it a bit clearer, but nice conditional sentence there. This situation became possible, happened. We can't become possible. This situation happened due to unreliable government and disrespect of human rights. Okay, I would move this sentence, okay, and I would put it here. Up to there, yeah? Then I think it flows more easily. Okay, see what you think, but I would do that. Because then you're making a big topic sentence here, you're developing it, then you're giving me the example, which is a better way to organize the paragraphs. Okay. On the other hand, okay, now you could start here with on the one hand, you can't suddenly put on the other hand, because you need to balance it with on the one hand. Okay, so on the other hand, Canada, comma, a much younger country than Russia, has proven, present perfect, that it can, or that it offers an appropriate approach to development, always resulting in its nation's successes, or leading to its nation's successes. This country, so Canada, can afford to invite immigrants, yet not be afraid of losing its economic indicators or its economic position. Now, I assume, I'm a bit worried about you putting I assume in there. Okay, I don't think you need that. I would rather you saved your own comments for the conclusion. Okay, but you could start with understanding that its citizens are the most important and valuable part of the country, and the main accelerator in the growth of economics and wealth and possibilities. Led the government to adopt such solutions. Okay, that makes it more elegant. Okay, so start with understanding and then just reword it from there. Okay, and I would take out your opinion until later. Okay, but that makes it a nicely balanced paragraph and a very good contrast to Russia. Okay, so you're talking about Canada looking after its citizens. Okay, can we mention here, please, food and education? Yeah, can we mention that? Yes, they've invited people, so in economic indicators, but can you put on a high level of education, something like that? Just kind of keep on referring back to the question here. And, sorry, if you share wealth with Russia, for example, going back to that, for example, by providing da-da-da, yeah? Poland, okay, yes. Now you need to link this in, and as a contrast maybe to a nation that has been helped. Okay, in contrast, maybe Poland, which has been helped by the European Union after it was betrayed, yeah, became more. Sorry, you need to reword this. Okay. Maybe maybe you can start with the European Union. The European Union has been helping with credit for a long time. Okay. Hang on. Let's go. An example of a country that has been helped by another nation could be Poland, comma, where the European Union has given credits for some time or provided credits for some time, while the economics of Poland stabilized. Yeah, after the Second World War. Okay. However, the share wasn't a share of wealth. Okay. However, it is important to note that this wasn't a share of wealth since all the credits had to be returned. Yeah. I'm not sure you need that paragraph in your essay. I think if you organize this one better and just build on this one a little bit, then I think you've got enough. I see what you mean on this one, but I think in terms of the answering the question, you don't need it. Okay? So from my point of view, good, like to have your opinion here. Rich nations should not share their money with other countries because of the risk of da-da-da-da-da. Tell me the risk. Corruption, the aid not getting to the right people. This is very, very important. They, the countries, could share their experience, political support, knowledge. Yes, absolutely. By providing what you call it, pairing up, or maybe something to do with the education, maybe university sponsorship, something like that. Give me an example here about what you mean. So if you're going to make a big statement like this, always develop it and show me what you mean. However, I think it is more than enough for any country that wants to become wealthy. Yes. All right. And I believe, sorry, rather than however, and I believe this support is more than enough for any country that wants to become more wealthy. Okay, wow. Complicated essay, massive subject, isn't it? You've tackled it really, really well. I'm very impressed. I think it would help you. You're doing your exam quite soon, I think. Have a look online. The online course that we do is really, really brilliant and takes you through all kinds of essays and how to answer them, and also how to answer the task 1. I don't know if you've looked at those, which is either the academic graph or the letters. I think you find that interesting, and there's modules on, yeah, as I say, how to format these essays in quite a sophisticated way. So you might like to look at that. But really well done. Thank you.